Today, on a special edition of HTF, we preview the upcoming NBA season, from the defending champions up north, to the battle in Southern California, to the Lone Star pairing nobody expected. We got you covered. This is Hitting the Field.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask. I just really hit the field. 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 Boy, I'm about to hit the field.
Welcome to Hitting the Field special NBA preview show. I'm your host, Jeremy Brener, and today we are going to break down everything NBA for a full hour. We're going to start with a discussion of the Eastern Conference and make our way out west later on in the show. To talk about the East, I am excited to welcome to my left Chris Tran, Troy Alford, and then Chris Wolf on my right, and Ross Bernstein. How are you guys today?
Doing great, man.
Yeah?
Always ready to go.
Always a good day, baby.
Hitting the well right there, Ross?
Yeah, of course.
Hitting the well, absolutely.
My Monday
All
morning
right.
well.
We start our conversation with the defending champion Raptors, who have a season very few defending champions have ever faced. Kawhi Leonard took his talents to LA to play for the Clippers, leaving the Raptors in a bit of a bind. But the team cannot be counted out. Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam both signed massive extensions recently and will look to take the Raptors back to the playoffs for another deep run. Ross, how good do you expect this Raptors team to be?
I expect them to be an average team. I mean, Kyle Lowry's not a bad player. Pascal Siakam is getting better every year. They have Fred VanVleet. They have a lot of good players. But losing Kawhi is something that is, it's like losing LeBron or Kevin Durant. They're not going to be the same level. Best case scenario, maybe 6th, 7th seed. That's like best case scenario. But they're really banking on Pascal.
6th, 7th seed is a big drop, though.
Well, they're losing arguably the best player in the league.
Mean, that's
so,
true. Chris,
yeah.
You usually don't lose the Finals MVP. The Finals MVP, usually when you win a championship, they don't just go away. How are the Raptors going to recover from this? Who's going to step in?
I think it's going to be Pascal Siakam because they just signed him to a 4-year, $130 million extension. And he took a big step this last year. I mean, he was really good for them, and I think he'll be an all-star this year in the Eastern Conference because
that's a big step.
He'll be the number one option. They also have Kyle Lowry, but another player that will step up is Fred VanVleet because he stepped up big in the finals, and I think
they've got a lot of role players, but who's going to step up? You know, Troy, they got Pascal Siakam signed a 4-year, $130 million extension. Mm-hmm. Kyle Lowry, a 1-year, $31 million extension. They really have shown that they really do appreciate the guys that they have. What contract, in your opinion, do you think was a better contract?
I think the Siakam contract was the better contract. I believe it made a lot of sense, being that Pascal is going to be their franchise player going forward, so you have to take care of your franchise player going forward. And the Kyle Lowry contract is more of like a thank you. 1 year, $30 million. It's not bad. It'll be done by the 2021 free agency, which is a huge free agency class. So I believe no contract was bad.
Chris, something that we haven't touched on yet is Danny Green. Danny Green was a starter for this team that won the NBA Finals. He also went to LA to go play for the Lakers. Who's going to fill in and step in that role? Is it going to be VanVleet? Is it going to be Norman Powell? Who's going to step in for the Raptors in that 2 spot?
Yeah, I think it has to be Fred VanVleet. I mean, losing Danny Green is something that's not being talked about enough. He was your number 1 knockdown shooter, and every NBA championship team needs that shooter. Kawhi couldn't have done it alone without him. You saw Danny Green was great in the final series. It has to be Fred VanVleet's going to have to step up.
Do you think VanVleet's going to step into the starting lineup, or do you think he's going to continue coming off the bench for them in that 6-man role?
I think he might have to come into the starting lineup. You don't want to have your best shooter coming off the bench. You're going to need him to hit knockdown shots early and get your team going because if not, that's another glaring hole. Obviously, Kawhi is the one everything's talking about, but they need to be able to knock down shots.
So Ross said 6, 7 seed. Do we agree with that, or do you think we're a little bit higher?
A little bit higher.
A little bit higher?
I agree with the 6 or 7
Chris,
seed.
what do you think?
I think a little bit higher in the middle.
All right.
Like 4 or 5.
Sounds good. All right. We're going to move on to our next team that we would like to talk about, the Milwaukee Bucks. One of the teams that the Raptors crushed last season. And Milwaukee burst onto the NBA contender scene last season with an MVP campaign from Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks won a league-high 60 games last year, but fell to the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Championship despite winning the first 2 games in the series. In the offseason, the team was able to retain All-Star Chris Middleton, but lost Malcolm Brogdon as he signed with the Pacers. Troy, can the Bucks return to the Eastern Conference Finals this season?
No.
Oh, that's okay. So explain yourself. Explain, because that's a bold statement you just made.
I believe losing Malcolm Brogdon was a big loss for that team. I don't expect them to get to 60. I'm expecting somewhere between 48, 54 wins. I mean, for the East, that's
That might be
competitive.
pretty good in the
That's
East, though.
competitive, but I don't expect them to push their way to the conference finals like
Now,
they
the
did.
thing is, Brogdon, they didn't have him for most of that playoff run. He got injured during the playoffs, and they still were able to, he made his way back into the conference finals, but that's when the Bucks ended up falling by the wayside. So who's going to step in for Brogdon here?
That's going to be something that we have to find out as we continue to watch. I mean, I believe Chris Middleton's going to step up and be more of a scorer. Eric Bledsoe obviously is going to have to step up. George Hill, players like that, they're going to have to raise their level and fill in.
Chris, the team signed Kyle Korver from Utah. You think that he can possibly fill that? You just talked about sharpshooters. Could Kyle Korver be that for the Bucks this season?
No.
He can be their sharpshooter, but he's not somebody who you're going to rely on. There's a big difference between Danny Green and Kyle Korver going against each other. Korver's going to come off the bench and knock down shots when you need him to, but as far as a defensive liability and just not being able to do anything else except just be a spot-up shooter, he's not someone that's going to be able to elevate them to the next level.
Yeah. I want to throw this back to Giannis, Chris, and Ross. Giannis, MVP last year, very well deserved. But now he's a year older, a little more mature, and you probably can say that we haven't seen the best yet from Giannis. What do you expect from Giannis this year? Do you think he can be the MVP once again?
I don't think he'll be the MVP, but I think he'll improve. I think he will shoot the 3-ball well, and because he has a great work ethic. I think he'll be a better 3-point shooter. I think he'll be a better free throw shooter. I just don't like the team around him is not as good as it was last year.
And Ross,
Yeah,
thoughts on Giannis?
Yeah, I agree 100%. He's going to have to do what he did last year because he just has to. He's the only player on that team that can do that. The second option is Chris Middleton, who I really like, but
What does Giannis need to do differently this year, though?
he needs to shoot the basketball.
All
He
right.
needs to shoot at least to the point where people are afraid to he could actually knock it down. I don't expect him to be Kyle Korver. I don't expect him to be a knockdown shooter. But they need to be intimidated by a shot, and I think he'll do that. Like he said, super
Because
hard
that's like
work.
the one
Also-
part in his game that he doesn't have.
Also, he needs to knock down free throws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he struggles with free throws, and when defenses collapse on him and they clog the paint, he's not getting to the bucket.
That could be the
And that's a big
that could be the make or break part of this.
exactly
For sure.
All right. The Bucks are not the only team looking for revenge this season. The Philadelphia 76ers were just a bucket away from an Eastern Conference Finals berth last season, but Kawhi Leonard crushed the team's dreams with an iconic baseline jumper. Despite the loss of Jimmy Butler, the team gained 2 new starters in Josh Richardson and Al Horford, and a dynamic defensive rookie in Matisse Thybulle. Chris, how do you feel about Philly's new additions this season?
I mean, for me, if they don't make the Eastern Conference, if they don't make the NBA Finals, it's a disappointing season. I think they have by far the best starting 5 in the NBA, and because if you look at Josh Richardson as your 5th best starter, he would be like the 3rd best starter on a lot of teams in the NBA.
That's true.
And
It's
it
a
just
very deep lineup.
it just
to
shows
start
how
out.
deep, yeah. And as far as defensively, I think we're the best defensive team in the NBA, and Ben's been working on his shot, and if he can just be able to shoot a little bit, and we're not asking for anything much here, but just so that they'll be able to guard him, it just opens up space for Embiid in the paint, and they'll be able to dominate. And in my opinion, they should be the favorites to go to the
Now,
finals.
Chris, you're a Philly guy. Is
Yeah.
this the best Philly team that you've seen?
It's the best. I mean, by far. You look at the team in 01 that went to the finals, and it was AI and a bunch of people. It was AI, Kemba Mutombo, and then just a bunch of guys. This is the most complete roster that Philly's ever had.
Yeah. So Troy, you got Al Horford there, but you also have Joel Embiid, and that can create a very troubling front court for a lot of teams.
I don't think so.
You don't think
because
so?
I
Explain.
believe that Al Horford is confident and he's secure in where he is in his career. So I believe he wouldn't mind coming off the bench for
You think
Joel
he's going to come
Embiid.
off the bench?
Yeah, and I also believe that Joel Embiid has an injury history, so I believe he's going to fill in when Joel is out, and it'll work perfectly. So,
So
I don't see any problem
If
with that.
Horford comes off the bench, who starts?
Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Richardson, Ben Simmons, and who's on the guard they have, Chris?
I mean, it would be Mike Scott at the 4
Mike Scott.
probably.
Well, Mike Scott.
Mike,
But
that
Mike
might
Scott's
be
a-
interesting though. If you put Mike Scott in there, because
another stretch.
yeah. I mean, if you have Horford and Embiid in that paint, you're clogging that paint, and you risk and you sacrifice a lot of the spacing on the floor. Now you can put Embiid on the outside; he has an outside shot. Horford also has somewhat of an outside shot too. But that's two pretty much centers that you have. Ross, what do you think about the Sixers this season?
That team's absolutely ridiculous. I think the starting lineup, just the length alone, was Simmons, Richardson, Harris, and then you have Horford and Embiid that could both knock down the shot or protecting the paint. That's an
definitely the
unstoppable
longest
starting
lineup in
lineup.
the league.
Yeah.
I know
And
it's
it
gonna be a lot
rival
of
the Bucks. The Bucks also have a really long lineup, and those two teams I think could very well see each other in the
Yeah,
Eastern
they're
Conference.
definitely the two favorites by a good amount. But like he said, if the Sixers do not make it to the finals, they have to look at it as a disappointment. Simmons should shoot at least 30% from the three this time.
Fingers crossed.
If he makes 15 threes, it'd be a good year.
Yeah.
So I think
All
Philly's
right,
got
Chris,
it. I think Philly's got
quick
it.
thoughts on the Sixers. You think they can win the final? You think they can win the East?
I think they should be the favorite in the Eastern Conference.
All right. Well, we'll get to a
I'm
little
sure
bit
so.
more about that a little later on in the show. Another team dealing with seismic changes in the East is the Miami Heat. The team dealt Josh Richardson to the Sixers to acquire 4-time All-Star Jimmy Butler. The team also has high hopes for sharpshooter Tyler Hero, a dark horse Rookie of the Year candidate. Chris Wolf, what do you expect from your Heat this season?
I expect a really good season from this team. Like, I think better than people think. Because Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, and having maybe Goran Dragic coming off the bench, that's really good for us. We'll be a great defensive team, and they're much better at three-point shooting now because they added Myers Leonard. He stretches the floor at 7 feet as well, and they also have Kelly Olynyk, another 6'10", 6'11" guy that stretches the floor. I think they're a good three-point shooting team
Now,
and all that.
Ross, I know you're a Heat guy too. You're rocking the customized Ross Bernstein number 5 right there.
Customized.
But
Yes,
Who's
sir.
number 5, Ross? Who's that?
Me.
Oh,
Ross, Jimmy Butler is your new number 1 guy.
Yes, sir.
And Jimmy Butler has not proven to be a number 1 guy that can lead a team far in the playoffs. Does
Yep.
that concern you a little bit?
No, it doesn't concern me at all. What the Heat does that a lot of organizations don't do, like the Spurs, we have a culture. You come into the culture, and he has the potential and the drive and the talent to do it. So I'm not worried about that.
But how much of that culture was Dwayne Wade, who is now not
Well, we
with
got
the team?
Udonis Haslam. So we still got a lot of the culture there. We still got Eric Spoelstra. We got Pat
fair
Riley.
enough, fair enough,
I'm
fair
not worried about the culture. But we got Tyler Hero. That boy can shoot.
Are
the
you
lights
holding out for a hero?
Yes, I am.
Are you holding out for a
He
hero,
might be better
Troy?
than Michael Jordan.
I'm not. I haven't bought in yet.
Wait, what did you just say?
Michael Jordan, the next Michael Jordan, Tyler Hero.
The next Michael Jordan.
I
Is
don't
he the
know.
next Michael Jordan,
No,
Troy?
he's not. No, I haven't bought in yet to that level. But I
That's-
believe
I'm joking,
he has great potential to be a great young player
Yeah.
in our league.
Chris, you know a little bit about Jimmy Butler from his Philly days.
A little bit.
How do you think Jimmy Butler is going to fit in with this team? And is he going to fit with this team?
I mean, we've seen this team after team. It's not all of a sudden going to be fourth team's the charm. Jimmy Butler is who Jimmy Butler is. He wants to be the star. He says he just wants to win, but at the same time, if he's not the star, he's just not happy. I don't think he's a team guy, and I also don't think he's someone you can build your franchise around. If he's the 2 or the 3, he's fine, but he doesn't want to be the 2 or the 3. He wants to be the guy. And a Jimmy Butler team that runs through Jimmy Butler isn't making a deep playoff run.
I'm just want to ask quick answers here. We're going to start with Chris. How far do you think the Heat can go this season with Jimmy Butler at the star
First
level?
round exit.
First round exit?
Second round, 5th seed.
All right. Chris, what do you think?
Second round 4 seed.
Second round 4 seed.
I go second round, 4th, 5th seed. Yeah, that's
Second
about
round
right.
4 seed. All right. We're going to move on right now. So the East this year appears to be deeper than ever before, and there are more than just the teams that we have talked about that can have a chance at the championship. The Brooklyn Nets have Kyrie Irving and the threat of Kevin Durant returning from injury. The Celtics traded for Kemba Walker, and even the hometown Magic are making some noise. Chris Tran, we'll start with you. Quick answers. Which team is a sleeper team this season in the Eastern Conference?
I think a team that we're not talking about is the Boston Celtics. I understand they lost Kyrie, but I think Kemba and Kyrie can put up similar stats, and he's more coachable. And you still have, in my opinion, the best coach in the East. And
Yeah,
with Brad Stevens there, I think.
Troy, do you agree with that? You got
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn Nets. All right. We got Chris Wolf right here.
I'm the Indiana Pacers.
The Indiana Pacers. That's something, yeah, that's...
Get Oladipo back early.
And they got
should be
Malcolm
good.
Brogdon. Ross, what
I'm
do you
with
think?
Pacers 100% as long as Victor Oladipo comes back strong.
Brooklyn.
Ready to go.
And I think it's a testament to that we had 4 guys here give 3 different answers, and it really shows how deep that team is this year. You got 7 teams in the East that can really, truly make a deep run. So it should be very exciting. So thank you guys for your insight. When we come back, we will see which team these guys think is the beast in the East. Stick with us.
Hi, I'm Dave Jeffrey, attorney at law. Has your favorite team ever left you feeling sad, disappointed, or even a little angry? Don't you feel like you should be compensated for it? Just take a look at these real testimonials from my real clients. After Tyrod Taylor led the Bills to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years, I was the happiest I'd ever been. And then the Bills traded him, and I wanted to die. But thanks to Dave, I found my will to live again. Yo, Kevin Durant's a bitch. When he said his mom was the MVP, I was so pissed. He put up 30 a game, not her. At the same time, I knew my boy Dave would be able to get me some quick cash. Thanks, Dave Jeffrey. I've helped millions of people, and chances are I might be able to help you too.
I hate David Jeffries. My whole family died in a car crash, but he gave all my money away to a Saints fan because of some blown pass interference call. Thanks, Dav.
Aren't you mad when KD went to the Warriors?
Nah, that's pretty chill. Give me a call at 888-888-888, crying emoji, and I can fix your sports misery too.
Please call the number on your screen today if you are experiencing any grief, sadness, or even if another fan has hurt your feelings. All you have to do is provide your credit card number, the 3 silly digits on the back, and the expiration month and year. This is not a scam. Derp-de-derp.
Welcome back to HTF. I'm still here with Chris Tran and Troy Alford on my right, and Chris Wolf and Ross Bernstein on my left to talk about the Eastern Conference. Before the break, we talked about the dynamics of some of the best teams in the East, but now it's time to figure out which team these guys think will be the beast in the East and who is coming out to represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. We'll start with Troy Alford. Which team do you think is coming out of the East this season?
I got something hot.
All right, bring it.
The Brooklyn Nets
The Brooklyn Nets.
are coming out of the East this year.
All right, you want to explain that for me?
We got Kyrie Irving, who's in a position he's always wanted to be in. We have a young team with a great system. Everybody on that team.
Now, you say we. Can you expand on who we is?
Oh, that's a slip up. Don't mind that. They have a great system. Everyone is bought in. I bought in. I believe it. I believe Kyrie's going to be the leader. I believe in their young core.
I mean, that team does have nice pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you got Karis LeVert, you got Jarrett Allen. Those guys
DeAndre Jordan. You got Joe Harris. There's a lot of guys on that team with potential to mesh and do something special this year.
Now, I know you're a KD guy, Troy.
Yes, I am.
Is KD going to play for the team this season?
No, and he shouldn't. I believe he should wait and come back next year.
Even if they find themselves like maybe just that one piece away. If you're feeling good, like
listen, we saw what happened last time he rushed back. And
that's true.
No, he should wait and come back in 2020.
I mean,
later 2020.
He did rush back last time, but there's two different injuries. I mean, you had a short-term calf strain, but now
was
you
it
have
really a calf strain? It wasn't a calf strain. I think he partially tore his Achilles,
and then fully tore
it.
And
they told him it can heal in about a month, and then he ended up actually rupturing it. I don't think it never was a calf strain ever.
I agree.
And I don't think there's any expectations for KD to come back this year anyway. Like last year was like you're in the finals, like I want to try and make a move here, but the Nets brought in KD with a max contract knowing he's not going to play this year. There's going to be no rush. They're going to let him heal up, and I feel like this is just kind of a waiting year. They're going to take this year off. Next year's the expectation
But
year.
Troy thinks that the Nets are going to make it to the finals
No way.
without KD.
No way. We've seen
No way.
We've
There's
seen
no
it.
way.
We've seen it.
I don't know.
We've seen a team led by Kyrie.
Hey, it's
before.
hot. It's hot, but
It's really hot. It's way too hot.
Okay.
It's way too hot.
listen.
There's a lot of
I
reasons
like
why
it
the reason they're not going to make it is because the reason the Nets were so good last year is because of their chemistry, right? They're losing all that chemistry. Kyrie, if one thing he is a chemistry disruptor.
All right,
he
one
destroys
thing
teams.
you can't do. We're not gonna slander Kyrie up here.
I just did. Like
we're not gonna do that.
he destroys teams. He's a
No,
great
he doesn't.
individual.
There was
player.
a lot of things
He's a
going on
great
in that
individual
Boston
player.
locker room. It wasn't just Kyrie
And it
Irving. It was the
started
young
with him.
players.
It started with
no,
him.
it didn't. It
You
was
got
the young
Marcus Smart.
players.
How do you get all these young players?
It was
to
the
hate
young
you?
guys coming off a great season. and they felt like Kyrie was trying to take over, and they wanted to say, "Hey, we
don't
held
think
it
he caused
down."
it? You don't
And
think
we
he
played
caused any of
LeBron
that?
last year.
You thought
in
it was
the
all just jealousy?
Eastern Conference Finals. It was a lot going on. It wasn't just Kyrie.
They just don't have it. Granted, next year, completely different. Kevin Durant is a different kind of animal. I think they'll do it. But they're losing the chemistry, which is the reason they were such a good
Ross,
team
they
last
haven't
year.
even played a game yet. How did they lose chemistry?
And then
Because they lost D'Angelo Russell, which held the team together, and you're
Oh
putting
my
Kyrie in
goodness.
And don't forget about DeAndre Jordan. I mean, they got him too.
Exactly, a
Defensive
veteran.
prowess.
A veteran.
And you also got
I think he's
Spencer
great.
Dinwiddie in there.
Spencer Dinwiddie, I forgot to mention him.
Yeah, he's a
They're going to be a
six-man
good
guy.
team.
I'm not saying they're not going to be a good team, but to say they're going to win the East is ridiculous as
Yeah,
well.
no,
They don't have
not.
Kevin Durant.
It's hot, though.
ridiculous.
It's hot.
Oh, I get it. That's
But-
hot for sure. But,
So Ross,
what's
if
up?
you don't think the Nets are going to make it to the finals, who will?
oh, it should be Philly.
Philly.
Philly on paper, they have no reason not to make it.
Philly
they
is
have,
a paper team. They don't look. They don't. They're just a team on paper. I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
Chris.
they
Well,
almost.
They
I mean, I agree. They do
How?
look good on paper. We haven't seen
They
the whole
look good
team
on
together,
paper.
but they almost made the finals last year. They weren't too far.
Yeah.
They have
We're the-
a lot of great players. They have the most
The
depth.
Sixers are the only team in the East that got better this offseason.
Yeah, 100%. And the Heat.
I mean,
a
the
little bit.
Nets got better.
Well,
too.
the Nets got
They
better,
did-
but like they're not. This isn't the year for the Nets. Like the
No.
Nets are not going to compete this year.
So
They
do you,
know that,
do you
though.
agree with Ross that the
yes,
Sixers
the
are gonna
Sixers.
win?
Yes, the Sixers
jersey
will win the
says
East.
It looks. It's on paper.
There's no
that's what
reason
it
why they
looks
don't.
like. But
I
we
just-
got to see.
I look at the Sixers and I'm just like, they got to show it on the court. Joel Embiid needs to play he needs to play more games.
Exactly.
Ben Simmons needs to be more of a out of the paint scorer.
Can Ben stay on the court? Like,
And two, yeah, he missed his first whole season too. So it's like,
I don't think Joel needs to play more games. I think now that we have Horford, he can
Yeah.
play less games and save him for the playoffs.
You put in
So I
Horford
don't-
and Scott.
Exactly,
It's a big,
yeah.
great lineup.
So now you have Horford. You can put Horford at the 5, bring Mike Scott at the 4, and give Joel Embiid more rest days.
and also,
and then
you
he'll be
guys-
fresh in the
You
playoffs.
guys lost Jimmy Butler. He made a lot of big shots for you guys.
He did make a lot of big
All
shots.
right, so you don't have Jimmy Butler anymore. Now what?
I mean,
you got Josh Richardson and Al
you-
Horford. That's
exactly.
what.
I love Josh Richardson, but he's not Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
He's not Jimmy Butler yet.
not.
He can be. He has the potential
Oh, yeah,
to be.
no.
But you
He's a
also
young
have.
player.
He's also not going to be asked to be Joel.
Defensively, Josh Richardson, I think, will
Yes.
be fine
Yeah.
Oh,
with Jimmy
100%.
Butler. But offensively, that Josh Richardson cannot shoulder the load.
They're not
like
gonna
Jimmy
make
Butler.
him-
Jimmy
they're gonna
Butler
have
He's
made
also
a
not
lot
supposed
of
to.
big plays for you guys.
If Joel
about
Embiid
you
is going to be
guys?
the top 5 player that he's supposed to be, he's going to have to make those plays.
Yeah.
So I'm confident in him stepping into that role. He's another year of experience. He's more hungry than ever. If you look at his offseason, he's got himself in better shape than he ever has been. And he's going to be the guy to go to at the end of games. And then if you have Ben shooting more outside the paint than ever, there's no reason why Philly doesn't win the East.
Chris,
That's going to be a year, like some years to come for him to be shooting out the paint like that. So I don't.
Yeah,
As long as
expect
he's
that to-
comfortable with it.
That's
I
not
don't
going to
expect him
happen
to
over
I
knock-
don't
one
need him
season.
to be a good
one
shooter. He just
offseason.
needs to be willing to shoot. So they
I
have
want
to
to
guard
bring
him.
this. I want to bring this back to Embiid a little bit. Over under 60 games. Does he play over 60 games or under 60 games?
He played over 60.
Over,
I think right around 60. I'm going to say under.
under,
I'm saying about 65.
65, over,
I think a little over, but
a little bit
give him
over.
65.
But does he need to play over?
I
don't-
don't-
Chris,
exactly.
Chris Wolf, does he need to play more than 60 games to bring this team to the heights that they need to go to?
It
in the
depends
East?
on how it works. Because if it's load management, missed games, I'm okay with it. But if he's actually getting hurt in missing games, I'm worried about that. Especially if it's like his knees, because those have been what's been bothering him
Yeah.
for his whole career.
Chris, do you think the Sixers will win the East this year?
I do not.
Okay, so
Who's-
who's
Chris,
going
who's
to
winning?
win?
I think it will be. I think the Milwaukee Bucks will
All
get
right.
in it because I think Giannis Antetokounmpo will improve. I think he'll improve. I think he'll carry this team to the finals. He'll do what LeBron did with Cleveland a couple
Now
years ago.
There's no way.
Yeah,
No.
that,
Because
now,
I
that's a
believe-
bold
No, no,
word
no,
you
no,
just
no.
said.
If anything, we've seen that Ben can guard Giannis. We've seen it last year in the regular season. Ben can guard Giannis. Joel can guard Giannis.
But I'm making this prediction based off of I think he's going to improve his three-point shot. I think he's going to be better at the free throw line, especially late in game. I love his work ethic, and I love all what he does on the court. And he's already an elite defensive player too. He plays high defense because he finished top 3 in defensive player of the year, and I just think he will carry that Milwaukee team to the finals, even though it's not as talented as it was last
I
year.
agree, but losing Brogdon and also Mirotic, which no one's talking about, he's
It's
a
a
great
stretch,
stretch
yeah.
for. He went over. He said, "I'm out of here. I'm going to Real Madrid." I think he went to Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Yeah, somewhere overseas.
Yeah,
Fine.
that's a big loss. Also, they didn't get any better, and there's a lot of teams in the East improving. So I don't see how they can win. He'd have to pull a LeBron type season, which I just
And
don't think
Giannis
he's
got
capable of
exposed
yet.
in the playoffs
Now,
last year.
Yeah,
are the
oh,
Bucks
100%.
the biggest challenge for the Sixers, Chris?
I would say yes. Yeah, the Bucks are the biggest challenge of the Sixers, but I still think we match up well against them because they don't have anybody who they can put on Embiid. And if Ben and Giannis, they're not going to cancel each other out. Giannis is better than Ben Simmons, but if they're similar and then Embiid can just take over, I don't see any reason that the Bucks stop the Sixers.
One team that we haven't talked about yet at all, and I'm surprised that we haven't talked about yet, is Boston. Boston got Kemba Walker, and that team could be dangerous. Can Boston have a shot at this, Ross?
Boston can have a shot at this if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum step up like people have expected years over years. Do I think they could do it? Not the biggest fan of either of them. I think they're good players. I think they're good young players. They need to step up. If they could reach their potential this year with Kemba, I like Enes Kanter signing a lot. Can't play defense for the life of him, but he could score, give you 15 and 10 for the season. I would not be surprised if they're able to put a challenge. But that's very contingent on the young players showing up. And Taco Falls.
Troy, what do you think?
I just need Jason Tatum to get all of that Kobe out of his system and be more Paul Pierce. Just be more of the glue guy that they need. The young bull that they need.
Before we go to commercial, I want to ask you guys one question. So who's going to win the Eastern Conference Finals? Who are they going to beat in the Eastern Conference Finals, and in how many games? And we'll start with Chris right here.
The Sixers beat the Bucks in 5.
Sixers, Bucks in 5.
So I got the Nets beating the Sixers in 7 games in Philly.
That'll be fun.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
And it's going to happen, too.
Yeah.
Bucks beat the Sixers in 7.
Bucks over Sixers
In
Philly.
7 in Philly.
What's with the Philly not winning at home, man? What's with Philly not winning at home? We really don't like Philly at home?
I love Philly at home.
Man.
No.
I'm going Sixers
I've seen them
over
get blown
Bucks
out by the
in
Raptors.
6.
I don't-
Sixers over Bucks.
Blown out. It
Sixers
was.
over Bucks.
What do you mean blown out? It was a last second shot in Game 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wild.
You know, I think like the East, it's honestly going to come down to
I think it was like game
who's
4
healthy
or 5.
at the right
Those
time,
games,
who's
yeah.
hot at the right time, and ultimately, you know, matchups. It's going to come down to matchups. And I think there are
Always come down to
teams
matchups.
that it might not necessarily be the best team that wins the East, but it's going to be the team that matches up best with whoever they're playing. So thank you guys so much for the East talk. It looks like the East is going to be as important as ever this season. We've heard what our HTF panelists have thought, but now we want to hear from you. Head to our Twitter page at Hitting the Field and answer today's polls. Who will win the Eastern Conference and who will win the Western Conference? Answers will be revealed at the end of the show. When we come back, 4 new panelists join me to talk about the Wild Wild West. Stay tuned.
I mean, yeah, they lost the last 2, but third time's a charm, right? That's what I tell myself every night before I cry myself to sleep, right?
Definitely. In my eyes, I know he's pitching game 2, and his postseason ERA is about over 4, and I'm scared.
Because I like losing, apparently. It seems to be the trend. It's Jeter, too. He's just mad because the Yankees lost in the 2003 World Series.
03 World Series?
I think I have a better chance of winning the lottery, actually. Like, I'm probably going to throw it all on red this summer and hope for the best.
100%. And they're better than the Houston Astros.
The Trastros?
Honestly, Justin Verlander is the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is a god. I would go straight for Kate Upton.
I don't know.
We didn't give him enough. Should have given him $500 million.
Let's go, Yankees. The Yankees will not lose. Let's be clear. Best team in baseball ever.
Welcome back to HTF. I'm here with, on my right, we got Armond Sarduy. We're rocking that Seattle KD jersey.
Throwback, right?
Wonder where you got it. And we got Crystal Tisme over here on my right, and we got Jon Whitley on my left, and Cliff Tumetel rocking the Kobe. How y'all doing today?
Excellent.
Excellent, excellent. And we're going to talk about the Western Conference today. We begin in Los Angeles in what could be the NBA's newest rivalry. The Lakers haven't made the playoffs since 2014, but this season it'll be hard for that drought to continue. The team traded a good amount of its young talent to New Orleans for Anthony Davis, and he will look to make a formidable duo with none other than LeBron James. Crystal, you're wearing the Legends jersey himself. What do you think of this new pairing?
I think it's great, honestly, and they also acquired other pieces as well. So I think they're going to definitely go far this season and be a top contender.
They got Danny Green. They got Avery Bradley in the backcourt with Rondo.
Kuzma.
You got Dwight Howard in the front court. Who would have thought that Dwight Howard is a Laker once again? We live in one crazy timeline. Cliff, you're a Lakers guy too. What do you think about AD and LeBron teaming up?
I think it's gonna be great. The pick and roll is gonna be really deadly for them. It's gonna be really hard, tough cover for it. I mean, you can put Avery Bradley and like Danny Green on the corner over there to shoot. And then just that pick and roll, it's gonna be hard to stop.
Yeah, John and Armond, are either of you critics on this? Why won't this duo work?
I mean, Lakers have no excuses. I mean, you have the two of the top 15 players in the league. You have no excuses, and you have a supporting cast around them that could potentially, cause them to go far in the playoffs, maybe in NBA Finals. So they have no excuses. I expect great things from the Lakers this season, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a Western contender with more question marks than the Lakers. I'm not convinced LeBron's going to stay healthy in his old age. Also, we don't know what Rajon Rondo and Dwight Howard are going to be able to contribute.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we got, we talked about how AD and LeBron could be two of the top 15 players in the league, but you also got, it can't just be these power duos that have created all across the league. I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think it's going to come down to the role players that are around them. They got Avery Bradley, though.
Yeah.
They got Danny Green.
But what is Avery Bradley at this point? Is he still an elite defender?
Do you think that Avery Bradley... I'm going to throw that question to anyone who wants it right now. Yeah. Is Avery Bradley still, the defender that what he needs to be? Is this like a renaissance for Avery Bradley right here?
I think so. I think, he played in Boston, title time right there. Lakers are also title time. I think him signing with the Lakers... Well, it's like a rejuvenation for him. He's bright lights. I think when it comes to bright lights, I think he'll be ready to play.
Yeah. Cliff, what do you think?
Frank Vogel said himself that Avery Bradley was someone that everyone was surprised to see him again. I mean, he was great on practice. He looked like he was raring, ready to go. And the preseason games have shown me that he hasn't lost a step at all.
You just mentioned Frank Vogel, another new acquisition for this team, the former Magic coach. Crystal, is that the right hire? Be honest. I can tell on your face.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he coached the Magic, and they didn't have a great season, so I don't.
I mean,
but he did coach the Pacers.
He did, and
he took LeBron James to 7
the only team that was in their way was the Miami Heat. But now he has LeBron on his side now, so he knows how LeBron operates.
So that's one thing that he didn't have before.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna move on right now. The Lakers might have made a splash by trading for Anthony Davis. But the Clippers sent a wave through the entire league when they signed Kawhi Leonard and traded for Paul George on the same day. The Clips are the closest thing to a finals favorite, but it won't be easy for them. The Clippers have yet to even go to a conference finals in franchise history, and the team was just an 8 seed a year ago. Cliff, are the Clippers the favorite this season?
No, I don't think so. Right now, with Paul George is still not healthy, and if he does come back, what is your lineup? If you go with Kawhi Leonard at the shooting guard and Paul George a small forward, who's going to fill that power slot? What about the center? I mean, Zubac can't be there by himself.
I mean, you also got Montrezl Harrell.
But he's on the bench with Lou Williams. If you put him at the starting lineup,
that's the thing that has been puzzling about the Clippers in recent years. They put Lou Williams. Lou Williams, arguably their best scorer. I mean, before they got Kawhi and before they had Paul George, but Lou Williams came off the bench, and Doc Rivers would come up with creative rotations for that team. John, how do you think the rotation is going to look like for the Clippers this season?
I think they're one of the deepest teams. I think Mo Harkless coming off the bench too. Nobody talks about it, but he's a great perimeter defender as well.
He went to the Clippers in that 14 trade with Portland and Miami and I believe Philly, right?
Yes, sir. My only question mark with this team is rebounding. That is the only thing. They're a great defensive team. I think they can score points. Kawhi can score. Paul George can score. We know Lou Williams can score, but can they rebound? Montrezl Harrell, I think he's more of a stretch 3 than a true power forward.
Stretch 3?
He does play bigger than he's listed at. But Zubac and Montrezl Harrell, that's who's getting your rebounds. Out-rebounding the Clippers is the blueprint.
I mean, you also have Patrick Beverley, who might be the best rebounding point guard in the entire league. So, and you know me.
Best defensive point guard.
Patrick Beverley is my favorite non-Rocket ever. Oh, I mean, he technically was a Rocket. That's part of the reason. But Patrick Beverley is also a big part of it. He just signed a major contract, Armond.
Yeah.
How do you think Patrick Beverley is going to play a role on this team this year?
Well, like they say on Twitter and everywhere else, he's like the human version of the Black Air Force Ones. You know what I'm saying? If you need to get a steal, he'll get it for you. But he's a straight up bulldog. I mean, he'll go out there and get it for you. The thing is that this Clippers team is probably going to be one of the best defensive teams we've seen in a while. We have Paul George, who's a great defender. When he comes back from that shoulder injury, we'll see what their record is by then. But I think that the Clippers right now are one of the deepest teams in the NBA, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They can flat out score. Like John said, though, they needed work on rebounding a little bit. But the thing is that they gave last year when they played the Warriors, the first round, it took them to 6 games. But now they have Kawhi Leonard, a new supporting cast. They're gonna be great.
Crystal, are the Clippers the team to beat?
I think they're one of the top teams. They're well rounded.
But are they
as
the team
all.
to beat? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. That's you're wearing a Lakers
I
shirt.
know,
You're gonna
but
get a lot of hate online.
yeah.
If the wrong person sees that, that might be a problem. But you know what? I appreciate the honesty. I really do appreciate it. All right. With a run for a 3rd title in 5 seasons coming short, the Golden State Warriors lost more than just the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant jetted off to Brooklyn, and Klay Thompson tore his ACL and is not expected to return until after the All-Star break. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and newly acquired D'Angelo Russell will look to bring the Warriors back to the finals for the 5th year in a row. Armond, what do the Warriors need to do to get back to the NBA Finals?
It's going to be a tough road for them. You have Durant going out east to the Brooklyn Nets, and you have Klay Thompson, tearing his ACL. I think, going 5 straight NBA Finals really took a toll on them. But now I think it's time for them to regroup. You still have Draymond, the vocal leader. You still have Steph, who's the oldest guy on the team right now. You have because he traded away Iggy, and then Sean Livingston retired. So the thing is that you still have the 2 of the the core that won the final, won the very first finals in 2015.
You got Grandpa Steph.
Right.
But I mean, the one thing that I will give the Warriors though, they know how to win better than any of these teams that they're going to be competing against.
Right.
John, how much is that going to play a role in how the Warriors do this season?
I think it's a huge role. They have big game experience, big time experience players. The only question for me is Draymond. He's had a lot of doubters say that he'd be an ordinary player on a different team. I think this is his chance to prove that he's a real superstar.
I mean, I think Draymond's going to play a much bigger role this year. I think we're going to see that
This is his chance.
with KD out, Draymond's going to be required to probably guard the longest guy.
Yes.
There aren't really, with KD out, he's probably the longest person they have. And, Cliff, I'm going to ask you the same question. How big of a role does Draymond play on this team?
I think it's the biggest role. I mean, sure, Curry's going to carry the offense, but I think everything else Draymond has to do it. He has to defend. He has to make sure the plays are correct and just make sure everything is just fine and dandy. Because honestly, without him, I don't think they're going far. I mean, yes, Curry's there, but if he's gone, everyone's going to focus on him more. And after that,
yeah. One thing that I will credit the Warriors front office is they knew Kevin Durant was on their way, but they were able to snag D'Angelo Russell out of it. And with Klay Thompson out, that's going to be a big part of the team, especially for the first half of the season. Crystal, how do you think D'Angelo Russell is going to play a role on this Warriors team?
I think they just have to incorporate him into what they have going on already now, and if they do that, then they can go far with him. And as long as he shows up, then
yeah, I mean, he's had a very interesting career, D'Angelo Russell. Had troubling times in LA, kind of a snitch. Iggy and Swaggy P. I mean, I'm not gonna say nothing, but after that, I'm gonna drop that. But anyway, then he goes to Brooklyn, kind of fresh start. Last season, bursts onto the scene, and what did the Nets reward him with? A trade, all the way to the West, and now you're.
But he got paid, so.
I mean, he did get paid. But here's your money now. Get away, go away, go to California. That was basically what the Nets told him to do. So, John, I'm gonna throw this to you. So, what is Steve Kerr going to do with this team, and how is he going to build this rotation?
Yeah, man. So you had the money to spend, so you went out and got the best scorer available, which was D'Angelo Russell. I think that was a good move because you're going to need the points of losing Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. That is a lot of scoring. He's going to need Draymond. Draymond had a career-low three-point percentage last year at 28%. He's got to get that back up. But I think if Steph Curry stays healthy, they're going to be a real good team.
I think they're a true contender in the Western Conference this season. But with 3 teams in California looking to make an impact, we now have one team in the Lone Star State that has a very good chance to make it to the NBA Finals. My hometown, Houston Rockets. They're looking to challenge the 3 teams in Cali for a spot in the NBA Finals. In an attempt to take a step in the right direction, the team swapped point guards with the Oklahoma City Thunder to acquire Russell Westbrook, former teammate of Harden's back in OKC, and something I would never thought that we would see in our lifetime. But with Westbrook in the fold, many have criticized how this pairing will work. Jon Whitley, will Harden and Westbrook be able to coexist?
Absolutely. Everybody's talking about the problems it's going to create with the Houston offense. I think it's going to cause more problems for other teams than for them. It's basically an upgrade from Chris Paul. He's going to be playing that role. Harden's still going to get his 30, 40 points a night, and Westbrook's going to be a better number 2 scorer. Plus, let's mention they have better role players around those two than anybody else. I love the Rockets.
I hope you're right, man. I really
love the
do. I
Rockets.
really hope you're right. Cliff, what do you think about the Rockets this year?
It's tough, but I think I have to agree with John. I mean, like, this system that Mike D'Antoni has, like, at first I was a bit against Russell Westbrook going to Rockets, but after seeing it again, it's not too bad. And people I think hate on Russell and Harden so much because how they play, that if they play together, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, so, the Rockets, they brought in Westbrook, and that was really their main splash in the offseason. They really didn't change that team a whole lot after they lost in 6 to the Warriors in the second round. They have Tyson Chandler in the front court, but they're trying to keep that core as close-knit as possible because they have such a big change with Westbrook instead of Chris Paul. So with Westbrook coming in, that's a big offensive add, but defensively, you're losing Chris Paul. Crystal, how is the team going to react to losing Chris Paul on the defensive end?
I don't think the pairing is going to go well at all because I don't think it's going to. I don't think because they're both, like I've said, they're both ball dominant players. Like they want to score, and I don't think that's going to mesh together well.
And I can tell you this as a member of Red Nation, I think that is our biggest concern this year. That Westbrook and Harden, it's just not going to. And you even saw it in the preseason, Harden was very much the primary scorer, and I think that you have to figure out where Westbrook's role is going to be in the offense. But what do you think that's going to be, Armond?
Honestly, I think there's going to be some headaches in the beginning, but the thing is that because, they're 2 different, paths right now.
Over under 15 points a game for Westbrook.
I say over,
right.
At least 20.
Yeah.
He's joining James Harden. His production got dropped a little bit, but the thing is that there's gonna be some headaches in the beginning. They're both different career paths. When Harden went to got traded to Houston, and Russell was with OKC for a little bit. There's gonna be some headaches in the beginning, but I think that they respect each other enough to say hey, something's got to give. Like if Harden doesn't play well that night, but Russell does, he still has something to back up on. Things that in my opinion, I think that Harden and Chris Paul didn't really respect each other. That's why they didn't really have a great working relationship. I think Russell in this case, that I think that they do respect each other well enough to say, hey, we put our drama aside and we're gonna win this. We're gonna win this for the city of Houston.
Yeah, I think it could really go either way for the Rockets this year. But we've hit the tip of the iceberg in the West. But more teams can make a push in the West this season. The Blazers, Nuggets, and Jazz all look like legitimate contenders. And you can't count out Dallas, San Antonio, or the Pelicans to make a statement in the West. Armond, what team do you think will declare? What team do you think is the Western Conference leader this season?
Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
They acquired Mike Conley in the offseason with a trade, and also they acquired Bogdanovich from the Pacers. He averaged 18 points.
I think the Jazz are real scary this
year.
year.
I think so too. I think they're one of the best defensive teams last year.
Their team might be the scariest.
And they also acquired Jeff Green and Ed Davis to add some depth, so to counteract depth issues. But the thing is that they acquired a veteran like Mike Conley. He could he pairs well.
It's a difference maker. It really is.
Right.
It's much better.
Exactly. He's an elite defender. He can score as well. And they also have somebody to kind of guide Donovan Mitchell. He's third year.
He's a good backcourt pairing.
Right.
Come Utah or someone else?
I think Utah is a good option, but also Denver. They have basically the same team, and they're young, so I think they could also come up.
Nikola Jokic, MVP candidate? Yes or no?
No.
No. All right. Cliff. Nuggets, they also got Michael Porter Jr. possibly being a part of the rotation this year. Nuggets, Jazz, or someone else?
I think it's the Mavs. I mean, I think with
Ooh,
Luka and Kristaps Porzingis coming back from the Achilles injury, who's looking great, by the way, I think they have a real chance to make some noise around the league, and they might even go to the playoffs.
You got Luka Doncic. You got Boban Marjanovic.
Of course, Boban. You can't go wrong with Boban.
That's a cute little.
And also,
all right, John.
Yeah, so my sleeper in the West is the Sacramento Kings.
Oh,
I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs. I love the way this team is constructed. You got Dwayne Dedmon, who's a rebounding machine. And then if Fox, Hield, and Bagley continue to progress at the rate they have been, they're going to sneak into the playoffs.
You mentioned Hield. I got breaking news for you guys. He signed a 4-year extension just now.
With
breaking
incentives.
news. Buddy Hield just signed a 4-year extension with the Sacramento Kings. So they could very well be the sleeper team.
And let's not forget Harrison Barnes, who can guard any position in the league.
What big free agent came to Sacramento? Buddy Hield. That's the big free agent who came to Sacramento. Thank you for all the insight on the Western Conference. And we'll be sure to answer our Twitter polls at Hitting the Field, who wins the West. And when we come back, our panelists will answer that question. And at the end of the show, we will reveal what teams the viewers have picked as the top team in the West. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dave Jeffrey, attorney at law. Has your favorite team ever left you feeling sad, disappointed, or even a little angry? Don't you feel like you should be compensated for it? Just take a look at these real testimonials from my real clients. After Tyrod Taylor led the Bills to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years, I was the happiest I'd ever been. And then the Bills traded him, and I wanted to die. But thanks to Dave, I found my will to live again. Yo, Kevin Durant's a bitch. When he said his mom was the MVP, I was so pissed. He put up 30 a game, not her. Same time, I knew my boy Dave would be able to get me some quick cash. Thanks, Dave Jeffrey. I've helped millions of people, and chances are I might be able to help you too.
I hate David Jeffries. My whole family died in a car crash, but he gave all my money away to a Saints fan because of some blown pass interference call. Thanks, Dav.
Aren't you mad when KD went to the Warriors?
Nah, that's pretty chill. Give me a call at 888-888-888, crying emoji, and I can fix your sports misery too.
Please call the number on your screen today if you are experiencing any grief, sadness, or even if another fan has hurt your feelings. All you have to do is provide your credit card number, the 3 silly digits on the back, and the expiration month and year. This is not a scam. Derp-de-derp.
All right, welcome back to HTF. I'm here with Armond Sarduy, Crystal Tisme, Jon Whitley, and Cliff Tumetel to talk about who will take the Deep Western Conference this season. The Clippers, Lakers, and Rockets all created power duos in the offseason. The Warriors have a chip on their shoulder after losing KD, and the Jazz, Blazers, Nuggets, and apparently the Kings are all threats to win. John, are the Sacramento Kings going to win the Western Conference this year?
No, but they're going to sneak in the playoffs.
Okay, all right.
Let's make that clear.
So who's going to win the West?
The West, so the regular season, I got the Denver Nuggets. The brand of team basketball they play is going to win them the most games. However, in the postseason, I got the Houston Rockets beating the LA Clippers in the Western Conference Finals.
Ooh.
I think they're the two main.
I don't think.
I don't
know.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. You think the Rockets are gonna make it that far?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know, dude.
I don't think so.
There's the best backcourt in basketball, and this is an offensive league. They're gonna score the most points. They got Harden. They have the best role players around their 2 superstars.
I don't know, but when you got the Clippers and Lakers in the neighborhood, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. Okay, everybody assumes that LeBron is just immune to old age and that he's gonna stay healthy. Last season, I saw LeBron. He missed a lot of times with injuries. I haven't seen anything make me think is not gonna be the same case this year. The injuries are gonna continue to pile up.
Yeah, but the thing is that when you have Anthony Davis, on your team, there's nothing that can stop you.
Yes.
The thing is that you didn't have any player that could back him up when he was out. You know what I'm saying? He was out for since he got injured in December when they played the Warriors in Christmas Day, and he was out for about
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Listen, I like Anthony Davis. I don't like the players they have around him. It looks like a recipe for disaster when you have a bunch of has-beens playing with Anthony Davis and Kyle Kuzma.
But they don't have to be superstars. They just have to be role players.
But I don't know how good of role players they are at this point in their
Most of
career.
them-
Rondo, his best days are behind him. Dwight Howard, his best days are behind him. LeBron James, I hate to say it, but his best days are behind him.
LeBron, he's
Hold on,
LeBron.
no.
Everyone.
I
don't know.
Everyone on that
that.
Lakers team right now
Because
has a chip on their shoulder. Dwight Howard has something to prove. LeBron James,
I'm gonna say
it
this one
gives them
thing.
all like more energy.
If
to compete.
LeBron had get injured on Christmas Day, they would have made the playoffs.
Definitely.
For sure.
Most definitely.
They probably wouldn't make that far, but they would have made the playoffs. I think when LeBron got injured, they were the 3rd seed at that point.
Yeah.
So the thing is that if LeBron, God forbid, if he does get injured, you have Anthony Davis to pick up the slack.
John, Anthony Davis and LeBron James, 2 of the top 15 players in the
Absolutely.
league. How are they going to lose?
If injuries pop,
who will lose to them? Who will the Lakers lose to?
The Clippers
Probably
or the
Clippers.
Rockets. I think they could potentially even lose to Portland or Utah, but just
Really?
because I don't know how these
Really?
guys. I don't know how these guys are going to play together. I don't. Listen, I love LeBron and Anthony Davis if they're healthy. I don't love the rest of the players on that roster.
I think
In
Lakers.
fact, I hate the rest of the players on that roster.
I
at
think
this
you.
point in
I
their
think you'll
career.
be surprised. I mean, I'm not a Lakers fan, but this Lakers team is going to be something special. I think a lot
On paper.
On paper.
Hey, on 2K, I love it. Okay, I don't beat my team on 2K, but this is the real world.
I think folks gonna be surprised by Lakers this season. That's just my opinion, though. But I don't honestly think the only team that's gonna stop them is probably the Clippers.
Yes.
The Clippers have the best defensive team I've ever seen. They can handle LeBron. I don't know. AD and LeBron together is a lot to handle if they're healthy.
Yeah.
But as a unit, the Clippers have a better roster, top to bottom.
Does anyone on this set think that the Clippers are going to win at West? Armond,
Yeah.
Cliff, Crystal, or all right, Armond.
Yeah.
Throw your case for the Clippers here.
You got Kawhi Leonard on your team. You got Paul George. Probably like I said, it's just crazy because the Lakers had 2 of the top 15. Clippers do as well. The thing is that Kawhi is much younger than LeBron. Paul George is young too. But the thing is that Clippers, they're one of the best defensive teams.
How many games is
in the
Kawhi going to play, and how many games is Paul George going to play?
I think Kawhi is going to at least play maybe 70, 80 games.
80 games for Kawhi.
Yeah.
Mr. Load Management himself.
But we don't know how many minutes in those games.
Exactly.
And also, I don't think it matters how many games they play. I trust those two to be healthy in the playoffs. I think, and I agree, they're the best defensive team. Only problem is this is not a defensive league.
That's true.
So I think it's going to be a great series. I have the Rockets beating them in 7.
Cliff, you don't think that the Clippers are going to win the West? Why not?
I think just because of the fact that they just don't have enough rebounding. Like you said, in the blueprint to beating them is all about the rebounds. Their backcourt is their front court is pretty thin. Like if you move Harold to the power forward, who's gonna be in their bench? No one's gonna step up because you got Zoo back there.
Michael Green from Alabama.
I mean, the thing is that if you're a very good defensive team and you could score, that's gonna be dangerous. The thing is that.
How long does it take for the Clippers to turn the page and for people to be like, yo, this is the team to beat? Because it's not going to happen in the beginning of the season with Paul George out.
No. I think when Paul George comes back and they start actually playing together, I think that's when we can really see how this season's going to go.
I think by mid-November we'll see what type of team
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, Paul George.
Yep.
I think later than that, to be honest, this is
It might be Christmas.
Look, Kawhi Leonard is not a regular season player. He's not trying to gun for MVP. He's thinking about the finals. Yeah. So,
but I think that's also, you have to think about the Lakers like that too. They're not going to be playing their best players
here we go again.
all these minutes and need them for postseason. They're not going to be doing that.
They have a roster full of dinosaurs.
Yeah. So, Crystal,
But those dinosaurs have something to prove.
Yes.
Yeah.
This might be a silly question, Crystal, but do you think the Lakers are going to win the West this year?
I believe they have a chance of doing it. I think it's too early to tell, but as time goes on, we will see.
Yeah, so Clippers or Lakers. If they meet in the playoffs, who wins in a 7-game series?
I want to say the Lakers.
Yeah. All right. Cliff, do you think the Lakers are going to win, or do you got someone else in the field?
Yes, I think the Lakers will win.
You think the Lakers will win? You want the hat?
For sure.
You want the hat to say it?
Honestly, I hope they play each other in the playoffs.
That would be, yeah.
Because if you're a Lakers or Clippers fans, you just go to the same place. They play at the Staples Center.
Oh, that's for sure.
And especially if you're a journalist or a reporter.
No.
You win either way.
Now, John mentioned the Nuggets earlier. They look like a really good regular season team. How are they, and they lost in Game 7 in the second round last year. How are they going to do this year? Are they going to improve? Are they going to take a step back? The West is very deep this year, and it's deeper than it was last year. Cliff, what do you think about the Nuggets?
I think, I do want to say, I do agree with you first. I think they will win the West in terms of regular season, the standings. They've got a deep bench and everything else. But
So who do they lose to in the playoffs?
Rockets probably.
Clippers
What
for sure.
team can they? The
Clippers, yes. I just think that their perimeter defense
So
is
like a
going to
Western
destroy
Conference
them.
Finals, Clippers, Nuggets possibly. Clippers come
Western
out.
Finals?
Western
No,
Finals.
I'm not
no,
making it to
no.
the
They're not making it to the finals.
So you think the Clippers could be like a 4 seed? Is that what you're,
Yeah,
you're saying?
I think the Clippers are going to be seeded lower than people think because it's just not. They don't care about the regular season.
And they need time
I think
too to
I
get
think
adjusted.
the Clippers are going to be either the 1 or 2 seed.
See, one team.
They are not going to be the 1 seed.
1 or 2 seed.
Not the
They're
1 seed. That's
Paul
Denver's
George is not
spot.
going to play enough games. Kawhi Leonard's not going to play enough minutes.
See, one team that y'all have not talked about, and I'm saying this as a Rockets fan. I love the Rockets, and I hope they do amazing this year. The Warriors are going to win the Western Conference. Let's be real.
Whoa.
The Warriors are winning the West this year.
Whoa.
The Warriors are winning the West. How can you say they're not going to? Klay Thompson's going to be healthy by the playoffs. You got Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. Now that is the only backcourt that can rival Harden and Westbrook.
They have no size.
Listen. The margin.
Neither do the Rockets.
Listen,
They will match up well with the Rockets.
The margin between the Rockets and the Warriors was paper thin when the Warriors had Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson healthy. So I think the Rockets now they are going to get over that mountaintop of the Warriors.
All right, I'm going to end this segment like I did the previous segment with the East. I'm going to ask you who's going to win the West, who are they going to beat in the conference finals, and in how many games? We're going to start with Armond quickly.
Our Clippers going to beat the Lakers in the conference finals.
Clippers and Lakers.
Lakers are going to beat the Clippers.
Lakers beat the Clippers.
Rockets beat the Rockets beat the Clippers in 7 games.
I hope you're right. I really do.
Lakers beat the Clippers.
All right, I think the Warriors beat the Clippers. You know what? You are innocent until proven guilty in this country, and you are the champion until you are not proven the champion.
Down
in the
here
West.
for them.
Warriors will
That-
beat
that's
the
just how I
Lakers
see
for
it.
sure.
You know what? I
What?
hope the Rockets. John, I hope you're the prophet, man. All right. Thank you all for coming on the show today. I can't wait to see what will go down in the West this season, and hopefully my Rockets will take it home. I hope you're right, John. When we come back, I'll reveal the results to our Twitter poll, and I will deliver the rant. We'll be right back.
I'm in charge of the meeting this week. So you know what we're going to talk about? Basketball. The second thing we're going to talk about this week is basketball. Okay? And the third and last thing we're going to talk about is basketball.
Yeah. God, yeah. It's ridiculous. I want to quit. Can I quit? Take that.
Look at the screen. What are we talking about this week?
Basketball.
Yo, guys, I can't even imagine what it's like to be a Saints fan right now.
Dude,
I'd be so
Guys,
I can't believe that ridiculous no call.
Bro, I'm puzzled. If they would have made that call, who do you think would have been in the Super Bowl? The Saints would have been in the Super Bowl. Come on now.
The refs, they need to be punished.
Oh, hey guys. Did you see my missed call last week? Could have sent that team to the championship. I guess not.
I can't take this anymore.
What's up with this guy?
Welcome back to HTF's NBA preview show. I have the answers to our Twitter poll, and it looks like the fans think the Heat and one of the 2 LA teams are going to meet in the NBA Finals this June. Got a lot of homers, man. But I get 30 seconds to talk about whatever I want, so here goes nothing. I think what we saw on this show today was the fact that so many teams got a shot this year. You know, we all had, I think, 4 different answers here for the West, and we had like 3 different answers for the East. And that's what makes the NBA so exciting this season. That's why I urge every single one of you to watch NBA basketball this season. It's literally as wide open as a race as I have seen in maybe 10 years. It's incredible. The Warriors, I think they're going to win it all. I think that the Warriors still have it. But the Rockets, man, I hope, please do something, man. Please go to the finals at least. Come on, man. We got one more chance. And the more you wait, the older Harden's going to get, and the chances of that window is going to shrink. So, Rockets, just do what the Astros are doing and make it to the finals, man. So, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our first annual NBA preview show. Thank you to Chris Wolf, Chris Tran, Troy Ross, John, Crystal, Cliff, and Armond for joining me today. Catch us Wednesday for the NBA Preview Podcast, where Tyler Fellerman and a special guest will join me to dive deeper into the NBA season. Also, be sure to catch My Day Ad this week with Kyle Partain and Jarrett Kappelman as they discuss UCF's big win over ECU. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube page, and follow us on all our socials at Hitting the Field. Thank you guys for watching, and happy basketball season!